Hey Luke, just looking at your video here, and I think it's a really fascinating video and technique because if you look at this motion here, you have like a really good power position like many top pros. It's just fantastic. Look at your look at the stretch in your left arm, look at your power position there, look at this stretch here. These angles are really good, and you're loaded in your lower body here, you're in your legs too, ready to explode. So I just think everything here is in a really good spot. Look at your head up, eyes up. This is a really good position. But then there's just kind of like failure to launch, and then your arm, your shoulder's not generating a lot of external to internal racket head speed. You know, most of the power on the service from the shoulder and from the quick acceleration from external rotation, which is in your racket drop. So when you make the deep racket drop this way, your shoulders goes to maximal external rotation. And then as you accelerate upward, obviously there's other factors that add power, like the trunk rotation and the tricep extension and pronation in your arm. But most of the power is coming from that very quick external to internal shoulder rotation. And as you move along in the video and you see your explosion, one thing I would just mention is try not to be palm up here. If you see how your racket is palm up, is one small thing that I noticed. You'd like to keep those strings facing the camera as you're back scratching. So cut in on edge, keep that racket on edge, and don't open up too soon. A lot of times that can cost a small amount of power because you're not pronating later in the motion. You're pronating a little bit early, and you're opening up you're kind of extending your wrist. Looks like you're extending your wrist backward there a little early in the drop, or at least on that drop. And then you correct it here, though. Here you're supinated, and then you're going to prone it up. See, this is not a bad position either. It's just slow. Like there's not enough racket speed. So like this is look at this nice. This is the point of maximal external rotation that I talked about, where your racket is dropped, and you get this nice angle in your elbow, and your shoulders being stretched here. You know, you're creating a lot of elastic energy here. You go up. It's a decent leg drive. Like on, if you just look at the motion from here, aside from this palm up, but look, you correct it. Your palm's up, but then when you get down to here, you get properly supinated and you come up on edge. So that may not cost you power in the end. But a lot of people that open up there early, sometimes they start pronating early and they lose power rather than pronating at the last split second going up. Like, look at this. This looks pretty decent. But then I'm telling you, when you hit the ball, there's just very little pop on the ball. Even this position is not too bad. And I think that's where you have to do those racket speed exercises that I gave you. Those racket speed exercises are going to be critical for speed up your shoulder. That's what I would recommend. That this is not a bad impact, you know. And then if you look here, your arm doesn't. This is where you don't have the internal rotation. You can see you're not generating a lot of racket speed because your arm would go through more. You would see more of a bend here, and you'd see more angle in your arm here. If you had more racket speed, that would be part of the deceleration. You would see that as an after effect. You would see better internal rotation here. The elbow would be higher, the racket would be lower. I sent you a few clips of Djokovic where you can see that clearly post impact, how much he's externally rotated, how much. You have some long axis pronation here, but not a lot. You see, like your arm gets straight, but then your wrist kind of like flops down. I don't know if you can see that. If you look here, you get a small amount of long axis rotation, but then Look how your wrist just kind of flops down right here. Right in that area there. And you can just see there's just not a lot of power here. And then your racket sort of like flops down to the side here. I don't like that either. I told you to bring that racket around your body to the left side. So I think in the end, there's like a lot of positives here because the beginning is so promising. It's so good here. And then as you go up, the legs aren't bad either, but the shoulder is not generating a lot of force. Here, remember, we're working on the scorpion move, so that leg should be kicked back. So work on accelerating, making the impact, and kicking the right leg back, like arabesque in ballet, or sometimes we call it the scorpion, or a donkey kick, or whatever you want to call it. Split those legs. So one leg going there, one leg there. Make sure you have a better split, so you can work on that aspect too. So the torso is leaning forward, and the lower body is you have that counterbalancing back leg. Just here, there's just nothing here. Look, there's just no, I know you're decelerating here, but there's just not enough juice. So please keep working on your racket speed exercises, and then hopefully we can, film this a couple months down the road and see some progress, not only in the MPH, because we can measure the MPH, because the MPH has to be a lot faster. And then I guarantee you, when you see an increase in your MPH, you're going to see a better deceleration phase here. After the impact, you're going to see a better internal rotation, higher elbow. It's just as a byproduct of the extra, torque and force that you're generating. Because right here, it's just not enough. Sorry, buddy. You got to keep working on that. You're a big guy, and you're going to have a big serve if you work on these things.